Welcome to EG Sports. I am your host, Vince. Amazing show for you. But when haven't had an amazing show for you? It's amazing because amazing is in the imaginary title. American Football Championship game only has one game compared to because of the revenue. Now, I can go a lot of different directions. However, I'm trying to maintain this whole being a truth teller and hitting you with the real, while also being, how about that? An honest truth teller that has the real. You can't even order that. You can't even create a computer algorithm to match any of that because there's no. You can try, but it doesn't exist. Anyhow, I am growing the beard back out. Yes, I am. It's not doing movie magic or creating something that's not there. And even with American football growing and attempting to grow, going to add more championship games to happen for a few sensible reasons. Yes, a few. Hardcore the game is anyway. Hardcore in the sense of injuries that one can see and the injuries that one cannot see, and basically just the toll that it takes. Talk to a few National Football League players if you have an opportunity to, and they will tell you how they go about trying to recover from the week before from the game, whether it's the tried and true ways or whether it is science. Yeah, science is friendly and determining what do they need to digest or exercise or stretching or other things that they could possibly recover from the basic violence of the game itself. Go a little cray about how I feel about the violence of the game because it is. I'm at the point now. I have feel as though that the league and put out the information that they had and the information that's available so the players can make the decision. The previous in my issue was that information wasn't available, that the league wasn't admitting, and the league was basically hiding behind the shield. All of that, the onus is on the player to determine whether or not that is worth it to them. And I'm not here to cast stones and judge, because be prepared for all the stones and rocks coming back in an equal amount of force. I enjoy my house. I like my home. I want to say that if it's broken. I want a damn glass house. How can I do that if it's broke? That's been settled. That has been set through all the truths of that. So that's that. But talk to some player or players and they would tell you some of the things they creative ways don't do to try to recover from the previous week. And so they are doing this throughout the season and throughout the weeks to begin with. And that's one reason why football, put your body is that much trauma, that much 7 days is difficult. And that's why it was sort of hard when playing a previous Sunday or so often, and it was less actually try to recover it in the early stages was brunt of it, and they were singing like a bird and saying that this is unfair to saying words, but I wanted to do the blah 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 blahs because I don't want anything in a football player's mouth, to be honest with you. Pretty much have the mouthpiece in. And if they are a really tough guy and don't need the mouthpiece in, and me attempting to try to put trying to be the mouthpiece of a footballer who doesn't wear a mouthpiece, I see that ending badly. Not for them, but for me. Not for them, but for me. Individuals who put things in other people's mouth and expect them to just bite down and chew, or to just bite down and everything's good. That ain't me. And if it was me, I'd probably protect me from the individuals who would not agree with that. Tough guy. But also know when the whole voice that's deep within my guts that's telling me, Ken, where though? Where you want me to run? It doesn't matter. Just when you are in the clear. We will let you know when it's okay to stop running. You just keep them little legs moving. And I imagine that this fight or flight mechanism bring my 40 time down to somewhere probably 4.2, 4.1 or 4.0 seconds or something. Because if it's the same time frame that's chasing me, then am I really getting away? Am I to continue living the life that I want to live? That's a real question with a real answer. That's a real question. A friend has the correct answer, and a friend probably would know what to do. Have to ask that question to begin with. Wouldn't have to ask that question to begin with. Just gonna ignore all of that. Therefore, I'm just gonna say, nah. And I ain't trying to say what they, or I say what I think they would say. Blah, 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 blah. And if you got a problem with it, you can fill in the blah, 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 instead of your own imaginary words or your own imagination, and go from there. And you let me know the answers to them questions that I just put out there. You let me know the answers to some of them questions that I put out there. How fast was your 40 time? But them the two ones that I want to know right off the bat. So I'm not going to put anything in their mouth. I'm not going to say, you just go ahead and ask the to recover. And on a Thursday night game or on a game, how do they bounce back from the shortened recovery time already utilizing and doing before that happened or before that occurred? You go ahead and ask them firsthand, and I'm going to stick. And if that's the case for playing games in the week, attempting to play more games to win the championship, to be the one deemed the best at the end, it seemed like it is counter players available that help the team get to the position. Doesn't it become a battle of attrition? Doesn't it become a who you have left? Doesn't it become roster have to be perfected? Because if certain key members or certain key players get hurt of the season, but do they get hurt in the right time of the season? Do they get hurt in the unintended consequence will be happening. You'll be adding a different within the season itself that isn't truly bringing any more. You're looking at it from that point of view, it doesn't work anyway. And there are more points to make the overall arching point about this. The overall arching point about this. So if you have to keep a certain amount of players healthy, or attempt to have a certain amount of players and your important key players healthy to the end of the season, of the game, to determine the winner and to determine who is king of the hill. Who is that? Debo. That's who. Yeah. It's because it won't necessarily be about who is the best or who is day in question. because they could win the first game. Players aren't available. Multiple players, and that team wins. And then what if that team players that was available get hurt? There's only the best out of 3. It's a completely 2 different teams. The series to begin with. So that is a problem within itself. Thought process of, or it is thought of playing more than one game to determine a champion in American football, when you gotta stay healthy, you gotta be healthy, you gotta recover. Are these games gonna be spaced out? Are they gonna be week games? Because then you might be onto something. You might itself goes against the unwritten philosophy, or the unwritten philosophy of football game. Period. A team can win any given Sunday, any given time when these games are played, because I'm pretty sure at some point there's gonna be against everything you said. Maybe not, because you can still, it works. That takes away that factor of any given game, because if it's a series, you can lose one game in the series and still win the series. And if it's a bigger series, you can probably lose 2 games of the series and still, and that just flies in the face of given game the other team can win. And so 2. So we can just toss that one in 2 and tie it up and create like this. Oh, here we go. Yeah, there it is. It's right in front of your button. That's right there, or maybe right there. You just go ahead and press. It's the I believe button. It will take. Oh, just know that this be true. Once again, truth teller here. Once again, there ain't no algorithm that can do what I do. Press the button. Everything's fine. Everything is all to the G-O-O-D. And you don't believe me? You know what to do again. Press. And you don't even have to press. You don't even have to like physically. It will help you out. Side note, help you out. And that's one of why, because you think of the other sports. You think of baseball. Sport is like series to begin with, so they're continuing on something that they already know more acceptable, because it's how they begin with. And even though they don't play series during the regular season too, it's like, well, this team played this team this amount of times and they won that regular playoff series. So it is factored in, or it has been brought up or utilized in a talking point or a point of reference that can just point your finger at, be like, yeah, we remember, we recall. It happens in the American football too, but not in the way. No, it's in a way of you play home and away, or you lose both. Simple as that. Simple as that. Where you have that built in, or I'm not gonna say it's always been there, or that's been factored in, or that's been there. So that's not an issue. Baseball, hockey, yes. Hockey, I know. No matter how big, no matter how small, it is still a sport. Granted, it will be sooner or later. Hockey, they have basically the same thing like the league itself, but when it comes to the playoffs, there's a whole different series, like a real series that basketball has as well. And you have that. And so it makes sense for determining a champion in hockey. It's a series. It's series based. It's multiple games. It's the best out of 7. basketball,
games.
best
And I
out of
know
7.
some people want to say it's a revenue thing, it's a revenue generator. Popping, who watching? If the sport ain't popping, who watching? If it ain't,
because there's only so many hours in the day. There's only so many hours of the day. There's only so much things can keep up with and consume on a regular. Stopping, it's probably just going in and out. So having multiple games is not truly based on revenue. The revenue is like an unwillingly take, but for the most part is to determine the champion. As in, the best team doesn't usually always win. It happens sometime. But if you get a goalie, a hot goalie, and they standing on their head and they doing what it do, break dancing, getting all the necessary moves down, creating a new dance. Because when you're out there creating a new dance, it don't matter what you do. Everything is brand new. It doesn't matter. Deny. Do that. Deny. And he looks good to the naked eye. He's standing on his head. He doing stuff standing on his head too. And it happened. And you just sit back, you enjoy the dance, enjoy that too. You enjoy all of it. And when it's all said and done, I see you. I synced you. It worked. Good for you. Good. I feel like I was in the presence of greatness. I feel like I was in the presence. Baseball, it's a lot of variables. It's a lot. All of your best players all the time. It's just hard to happen. And then there's this one big V word. I think it ends with an E. I think it starts with a V. And no, it ain't me. It is not me. I don't want that pressure. I don't want that pressure, and I definitely can't take that credit. No control over it. I just like the meaning of this. And there's variance when it comes to baseball. Or even though the data scientists, aka stat, aka them peeps that love them numbers, there's some things they just can't account for. Just go ahead and throw some robots out there and let them make the magic happen that way. And there's some things that just can't be accounted for in the numbers that just different story. But the more information you get, you will know which story is making sense. But until then, it's still almost determining. Not necessarily a science, but it's an art. It's an art. Basketball, the best team usually win. Sometimes it's fluky. Sometimes teams that should win, ought to win, deserve to win, don't win because their pyramid just doesn't stand. You know, being competent, just about anything. But if those three aren't there, and if the team deserves to win or how good they are, they ain't gonna win. You gotta have the talent, you gotta be competent, you gotta have strength, but you're gonna need those. And the good, great, and the ones that win have it more than the others. And you better be making up for it in competence. You better be making up for it in structure. You better be, I'm just gonna walk on a ledge and say, you ain't got, I said it, do something. I said it, do something. And that's how basketball works. The best team usually win. You're good. If you got the three, missing one, you can overcome it. You're missing two, no chance, no shot. And those are those sports. And I'm not gonna even really talk about football. And that's soccer for you. But it really isn't like football. Because you can recover, but it happens and it occurs, and you can have a big enough squad, a big enough team available to make or play both games, and there really isn't this two different teams playing, or one team wasn't enough time to recover, or that wasn't a rest factor. So if this actual football, why football isn't one, well, I'll say this. Because base, and so once you get to the end, you just want to end it there and not continue going on and on and on, because it's usually if you have the pyramid
as in basketball, the little structure stuff that I talked about, you can win. You can overcome. If you definitely cannot overcome if you're missing two. In fact, you probably can get there, but it's going to be, how did they get there? I mean, really, how did they get there? And when it comes to the history itself, it is what it is. You ain't changing that. You ain't altering those points at the end. Deservingly so, is the winner of the league. There was an equal opportunity, an equal chance for everyone to collect as many those points at the end in a fair system, in a system where everybody hold that trophy up high, be proud. It is what it is. You ain't changing that. And so it's definitely revenues, it's organizations that people want to see, or there's some storyline that can help and help keep the fans of other teams help keep the fans of other teams involved because of the storyline. And that would help with the revenue in itself because there's more tuning in. There's more and it raises things. In that sense, yeah, sure. To American football, for revenue purposes, not gonna happen, period, under said circumstances to begin with because of the brutality nature of the goal is that people are willing to pay top dollar for. You don't water it down, make the product a shell of itself in the name of. You make the product appealing enough, strong enough for top dollar. And you can ask for a blank check. And those who know, those who don't know, they keep it moving. They keep it moving. Adding another game or series of games to determine the champion in American football in the name of revenue that you think of. And when you think of it, maybe you're playing around with your pals, playing around with your buddies, and somebody hits you, and then they into a wall, your head hits somewhere, or you bang your head, or you hop down in your bed and your head concussions. Or you see the little stars, you see the little birds running around and doing a lot of things. When this idea comes up again, it sounds sound. When this idea comes up again, it sounds. It never occurred to anyone, period. Especially them. But you, of all people, you of the millions and billions of and other planets too. But I'm gonna keep this to this planet because I don't want to put words in my mouth. I don't want to put words in my friends from Pluto's mouth. I know Pluto. And I don't want to put words in. I ain't that person. But hey, sometimes press that button. And so when you pressing that button and now you got a better understanding of determining the champion, and if you still don't believe, and if you still a non-believer, and if you that idea that came across long ago, you keep it to yourself. It's sometime, there's this thing called oversharing, and you hit that point.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.